All right, class, good morning. We're on lesson 12. It's Thursday, page 72. Here are our objectives. We're going to draw a number line. We're going to count unit segments on that number line. We're going to pair integers on a number line and identify numbers that represent tally marks. So that's a lot of things. We got to have a lot of math backgrounds today, but they're all pretty simple. First of all, continue to strive for excellence on your power-ups. In order to get an A+, you need to have the top filled, all the work on the side, answers in the middle, and the problem of the day here, make sure you box up your answer. Then flip it over on the back side and divide it today. You're going to divide it into sixths, okay? So divide it into six. You need to show all the examples on the back side. I think a few of you are missing that step yet. So flip that sheet over on the power up, and let's take care of our lesson. First of all, let's start with our lines. When we study geometry, we oftentimes talk about lines. And geometry is the study of different kinds of shapes. So this is what's called a line, and a line, notice the line goes on for forever. That's what the arrows represent. If we were to track this line, it would go all the way through my whole lesson, all the way until all lines never stop. So we put arrows at the end of lines. Now this little guy here is called a point. If we were in school, we'd do some exercises. Show me a point. Show me a line. We'd have arrows. Well, we need points to have line segments. Line segments are just parts of a line. For example, in the middle of this line, if I put 2 points, that right there would be a line segment because it's got those points. I call them stop signs. So line segments have stop signs. So if they ever ask you to draw a line segment, you're going to start with a point and end with a point. Our third one is array. Array starts in one place and goes on forever in that direction. A lot of times when we think about number lines, we talk about arrays. This is the starting point, 0, and then 1, and then 2, and then 3, and numbers never stop, and so they continue to go on for forever and ever and ever and ever. All right, as long as we're taking care of lines, we have different kinds of ways to describe lines, and one of the ways is we can describe which direction they go. If it goes perfectly parallel to the ground, that's called horizontal. I kind of remember this by the horizon. The horizon out there is where the sun meets the earth, and it's a line. It's horizontal, okay? And vertical. I like to do vertical like this, okay? Now, sometimes super athletes test their vertical leap by jumping as high as they can, vertical, up and down. And then the last one, any line that is not horizontal and not vertical is oblique. So anything at an angle, oblique, 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 horizontal, oblique, horizontal, vertical. So those are different types of lines, line segments, or arrays. Now your book is going to ask you for things like this. Please draw an oblique ray. Well, a ray's got one stop sign, one arrow, and oblique is an angle. So here's my oblique ray. Please draw a horizontal line segment. Well, a segment's got 2 horizontals this way, and so there's my horizontal. The best I can, I don't think it's at an angle, I think it's straight across. Now, number lines are all over the world. Let's take a look at a line right here. Yeah, this is a line. Notice it's got arrows and goes on forever. It goes from 0 up, and it will continue 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, continue, and it goes from 0 down. And so this is a line, it goes on forever. Now, inside of this has all these numbers, and those are actually called integers. All right, if we started at 0 and went up, we call these the counting numbers. But if we add the negative numbers to it, then those are called integers. All positive and negative whole numbers. Notice it's not 4 1/2, they're whole numbers. So these are integers, okay? On the number line, where we're going to put these numbers, we put them at what's called tick marks. This is a tick mark right here. And so between 2 tick marks on a number line, we can count how many spaces there are. So in other words, to get from 1 to 3, how many jumps are we going to take? 1, 2. What's the difference between 3 and 1 is 2. Now, this is kind of nice if we're trying to go from -2 to 2. Because you can't go 2 minus -2 and get an answer yet. So we take our jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many ticks are between 2 and -2? There are 4 spaces. All right, the last objective we want to take a look at today before we get into our example problems is tally marks. Now, tally marks are some things that people use. For example, if we're counting people that go into a game, we might give them tally marks. So 3 people enter the game, 1, 2, 3, tally marks. 3 more people come, 4, and every time we get to 5, we're going to cut it this way. So we got 4 vertical and 1 oblique makes 5, and there's another one. So we can count these by 5s quickly. 5, 6, 4. What about this one? Now instead of counting all those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I can just go 5, 10, 11, 12. Tally marks. We've done it. We've accomplished all the necessary vocabulary for this assignment. Now let's take a look at our examples. This would be example number 1. Now where is this? This is on the back of your power-up. Some of you are going for A pluses. You got to show all your work on the back of your power-up. It's on page 75, lesson 12, page 75. Example 1 says, the number sequence counts down by 1s. Write the next 6 numbers in the sequence. 5, 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, this is pretty easy. I'm going to jump right over to my number line over here and check it out. Well, they had a 5. 5, 4, 3. The next one would be 2. The next one would be 1. The next one would be 0. Now it seems like we're getting bigger counting up. 1, but it's not really 1. We're getting less. -1, -2, -3. Now in the classroom it's pretty sweet because we got this huge number line up above us. And it goes all the way to -20. If you have to, you might have to draw yourself one of those so that you can have help answering these type of questions here. So here are the next 6. 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. Example number 2. Example 2 says draw a number line with whole numbers from 0 to 5. So notice they say a number line. So you're going to have arrows on it. And because we're going to start at 0 and go to 5, we'll put a tick mark here and a 0. Now guys, when you try to draw these tick marks, try to make them about the same space apart. Don't try to make them all of a sudden too close. Okay? My number line looks a little bit silly and small there. So let's make them the same amount apart. I'd like to say about a finger apart, if you can fit that on your paper. And I started at 0, I went to 5. Now one of yours on the assignments coming up is going to say draw a number line that goes from -5 to 5. And on that number line, then put the 0 in the middle. Because we're going to go both to the positive and to the negative. Okay? I know mine's kind of small because I couldn't fit it there. But if they ask you to go both negative and positive, put your 0 in the middle. If they ask you just to go positive, put your 0 on the end and work your way forward. All right, so you drew your first number line. That's awesome. Example number 3 for A pluses. All work should be shown on the back. How many unit segments are there from 2 to 5 on the number line in example 2? So we're going to be at 2, so go ahead and put a little circle at 2. We just create a segment and 5. Now how many little segments are in between there? I like to hop like a frog. 1, 2, 3. 3 units. This little section right here between 2 and 3 is a unit. This one between 3 and 4 is a unit, and this one between 4 and 5 is a unit. 1, 2, 3 units. Example number 4. It says, on the number line below, arrows A and B indicate the integers. Write the 2 integers using comparison symbols to show which integer is greater or less. Now you can see in your book, but I'm going to quick draw mine. Okay, so I have a number line, and it goes from -5 all the way up to 5. And now it wants you to tell where are these at. Notice they didn't put numbers in there. So I added those numbers, which makes it a lot easier to see which one this dot is at. Ugh, I can't even count it on my book. There it is. It's at -3. And the other one is right at 3. And now this is where some kids get confused. -3 and 3. Some kids see the 3's and they say equal. But this is like having to owe your mom $3. And this is like having $3 in your pocket. One actually is better than the other. And so -3 is less than 3. It's farther to the left on our number line. Numbers farther to the left get smaller. So even though they have the same number, 3, a negative sign in front of it makes it much smaller. Okay? Negative 3 is less than 3. Example number 5. Example size is the one with the tally marks there. You see the definition of tally marks there in the blue. And it says what number is represented by this tally. And I'll write them for you. Maybe you want to count them when I write them. Or maybe you're good enough at tallies already to count by 5s. Anytime you see one with a cross like this, you got 5. Another one, 10. Another one, 15. This one you'd count 16. And this one you'd count 17. Okay, we've got one box left. We want to do a couple from the lesson practice. So towards the bottom of 76, you see lesson practice. It says A. We're supposed to tell whether that is a line. We're supposed to pick the one that is a line segment. So A, B, C, and D. Which one's a line? Lines have arrows. Okay. So your line would be B, and it asks for a line segment. So you're actually looking for A, because it has stop signs. Now the book doesn't put those fancy stop signs, they make it look like this, but if it has no arrows, that's the book's way of showing stop signs. Alright, let's fit B in there. B says, draw a vertical line. Do it with me. Vertical goes up and down. And they said line, so we need arrows. Alright, check out C. C says draw a horizontal segment. Look at the horizon out there. The sun's on the horizon. So this is horizontal. And we got to make it segment, so we want to put the stop signs at the end. This is just a part of a line segment. And then the last one we're going to do today is D. Hopefully you can fit that in there. D. D says draw an oblique ray. Horizontal, vertical, and oblique is in between there. So some kind of angle. Oblique, and the ray has one stop sign and one arrow. Alright guys, all of that work that we just did on the board should be on the back side of your Power Up for full credit. Okay? Front's filled, back's now filled. Now you're set to turn that in, and then watch my next video for some math helps on your assignment for today. Have a great day.